In this video, we're going to talk about the various form field types that you're going to encounter when creating a fillable PDF form. The various form field types that you're going to encounter include text fields, image fields, checkboxes, radio buttons, drop-down lists, list boxes, buttons, date fields, digital signatures, and finally the barcode. Now, here I have a sample document open that I'm going to use for this particular example. And I'm going to come over here to my tools and I'm going to choose prepare a form. And then I'm going to go ahead and create my form. Now over here on the left, you're going to see all the different form field types that we can create. And I'm going to start here with the text field. So with the text field chosen, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go ahead and click to add that type of form field to my document. I'm now going to grab the image field. Go ahead and click here to define an image area. I'm going to grab a checkbox. Now with checkboxes, you could create more than one checkbox if you want. But the behavior of checkboxes is that it allows more than one of the checkboxes to be chosen if desired. Now I'm going to choose a radio button. Now for a radio buttons are a little bit different from checkboxes in that as you add radio buttons to your document, each radio button is going to have the same name. However, there's a property within the radio button that we can define that makes each one unique. And I'll show that to you in a second. We're going to create a drop-down list. I'll go ahead and click and drag to create a drop-down list. I'll go ahead and create a list box. I'm going to create a button, a date field, a digital signature, and finally a barcode. Now when I create this barcode, it's going to automatically generate a barcode that's going to make this particular form unique. And you can see that that barcode has been generated down here. Now that we've created our form field types, let's take a look at the properties of each one and what makes each one unique. So I'm going to come up here and click on my selection tool. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on my document to make this a little bit easier to see here. And I'm going to start by double clicking on the text field. Now again, the text field, I'm just going to give this a name of text field. And as I explained in a previous video, every form field you create in Adobe Acrobat needs to have a tooltip. Now that's not the focus of what I'm showing you here. So I'm not going to add a tooltip to every one of these form fields. I just want you to understand that it is required for each form field. Now within the text field, you can change the appearance of the form field. You can change the position. You can change options such as its alignment, whether you want it to be a multi-line field, if you want to limit the characters. You can also assign actions to it. You can change the format, validate, and calculate as you see here. Now, I'm going to double click on the image field. Now, there's not a lot of properties for an image field. I'm just going to call this one image field. There we go. We can change the appearance. You can give it a fill, a stroke, change the font size if you wish, just the position. And you can adjust some options for the image field. But again, the image field is going to be used for people to upload an image into this field on their own. Now I'm going to go ahead and select a checkbox. Now for checkboxes, typically each checkbox of the group is going to have a unique name. So I'll call this one checkbox 1. And I'll call this one checkbox 2. And then last but not least, checkbox 3, right? If you click on the Options tab, you can define the export value of each checkbox. The default value is yes, but you could change it to whatever you wish. It's only going to matter if you choose to capture the form information using a variety of different methods. Now for your radio buttons, I'm going to click on the first radio button, and you'll notice that the name of this button is called Group 7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name to just say Radio Button. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that each one of these buttons has the same name. And although typically with a fillable PDF form, you want each form field to have a unique name, radio buttons are the unique situation where each button within the group needs to have the same name. Now, if you go to the Option tab, this is where we can give the radio button a choice value. So you can see this radio button has a value of choice 1, this radio button has a value of choice 2, and this one choice 3. Although you can make that choice anything you wish. When we get to a drop-down list is unique because we can click on the Options tab and we can add the list of items that we want displayed within this drop-down list. So I'm going to type in here choice 1. I'm going to hit the Add button. Choice 2, Add. 3, and let's do one more, 4. Right? So these are all of the choices that are going to be available within that drop-down list. Now, a little tip here, you'll notice if you look at the form field right now, the default value is choice 4. And that's because that was the last one that I added to the list of items. Now, what you could do here is if you click on this empty area below choice 4, it'll deselect any of the values so that there is no default. Let's go down to our list box. I'm going to click on this. Now, list boxes are very similar to drop-down lists in that if we go to the Options tab, I can add items to my list box. So I'm going to type in here choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and choice 4. You'll notice that one of the differences with a list box is that all of the options are displayed. You don't have to click on a menu to open it up. They're all displayed within the field. And once again, you can click in the empty area so that there are no defaults chosen for this type of form field. If you click on button, a button can be used for a variety of different things. You can use it to reset a form. You can use it to print the form. You can use it to submit the form. You can have it do a variety of different things. And so maybe I'll make this button a print button. So I'll rename this one to print. And if you go to the Appearance tab, you can change what you want the text within the button to look like. But if you go to the Options tab, this is where you can actually add a label. So I'm going to type print here. That way the text shows up on the button. And then if you go to the Actions tab, this is where you actually assign an action to what the button is going to do. So in this example, I want this button to print the form. So if I click on the drop-down menu, you can scroll through the list of available options, and you'll notice that print a form is not listed as a choice here. But what you can do is you can tell it to execute a menu item. So I'm going to click the Add button, and I'm going to scroll down to where it says Print Pages, and then I'll go ahead and click OK. And now that action has been assigned to that button. If I click on the date field, the date field really comes pre-configured. But in this example, if I go to the Format tab, we can see that the format category is a date. And then you could choose the date format here. So I'm going to do a 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and 4-digit year. And then we can keep scrolling here. Finally, we have our digital signature field. There's really not a lot you need to do to a digital signature field, but what you will often want to do is click on the Signed tab, and then you can set this digital signature so that when somebody signs it, it'll mark certain fields as read-only. So we could come in here and we could say mark all fields as read-only. And that way, when somebody signs this form, all of the form fields are going to get locked. And lastly, the barcode is kind of self-explanatory. A unique barcode has been generated for this form, and that is what the barcode looks like. Now I'm going to get out of form editing mode so I can kind of show you the behavior of each one of these form fields. The text field, I could go ahead and, type a name in here, whatever. For the image field, you can click on that and it'll allow you to upload an image. So I can browse and I will go to my pictures folder. And I'm just going to grab some random photo here. And so you can see that now I'm able to upload my own personal photo into that image field. Again, checkboxes allow you to choose more than one option if desired. So it's really up to you. Radio buttons, on the other hand, there's only one possible choice. So one of them has to be chosen, but only one can be chosen at a time. Here's my drop-down list. It's showing me all 4 of my choices. For the list box, you could do the same thing. It's just you don't have to click on a menu to access these options. And this basically allows you to go through here and choose whichever one you want to choose. If I click this print button now, this is going to want to print my document. So I assigned an action to that button, and now that action is kicking in and allowing me to print my form. And then down here, the date field, what makes a date field unique is that if you click on this little arrow to the right, it brings up a calendar pop-up where you can choose, the current date, and then it'll plug it in here. And then finally, if I click on the digital signature field, now it's allowing me to use my digital ID to sign the document. So I'll go ahead and continue here. I can sign this, and I'll call this one the signed version. And you'll notice now, after I've signed this, notice how none of the form fields can be changed because the digital signature field has locked all of the forms inside of this fillable PDF form. So hopefully that helps you to understand the various different form field types that are available. We're not going to be using all of them in this course, but we will in fact be using some of them. And hopefully when you need to leverage these various form fields in your own forms, you'll know how to use them appropriately.